Hey, what's going on? It's Jack Milocco for Beardbrand. Today, let's talk about the difference between shaving your cheek lines, shaving your neck lines with a regular razor versus an electric one. Before we get into this, there is one thing that I want to make very clear. This video will be covering cheek lines and neck lines only. We are not going to be talking about shaving the entirety of your face. If you want a video about the differences between shaving your face entirely with an electric razor versus shaving it entirely with a regular razor, that's for another day. Okay? That being said, let's get into it. For the past 2 days, I've been doing an experiment. I've been shaving the cheek lines of my beard with a traditional double-edged razor. But at the same time, I've been shaving my neckline with an electric razor. I did this to sort of personally feel the difference between these two razors, and now I have some results that I think that you guys should know. So the first thing that I've noticed in shaving with an electric razor versus shaving with a regular razor, or double edge in this case, is that if you use an electric razor, it's gonna go a lot faster. You're gonna be doing this for about 1 minute to 3 minutes tops. Whereas when you're using a razor that's a little bit more traditional, it's gonna take anywhere up to about 10 to 15 minutes, depending how slow you go and how thorough you're gonna be with the whole situation. If you are the type of guy that doesn't have a lot of time in the morning and needs to get out the door, I would go with an electric razor. It's gonna go a lot faster, so in the terms of time, I'm gonna say 0.1 for the electric razor. Now, on the flip side of things, one con that I found with this guy is that when it comes to sharpness, I would say of the style, it doesn't deliver quite as good of a result as the traditional razor. Now what I'm talking about is see how the lines on my cheeks are nice and sharp, except for that one little mistake right there, and they follow this sort of pattern that goes right into my mouth. This guy is not going to give you the closest result on this. This is better suited for your neck, when you don't need to have it super duper sharp. You're gonna go for something like this because it's gonna go a lot quicker and it's gonna be a little bit more hasty, but again, you can get out the door a bit faster. So when it comes to sharpness of the beard and the shape of the beard, I would say score 1 for the traditional razor. One thing I should say, however, though, is if you have a razor like this and it has a bit of an end where you can style a little bit better, you can try and get those sharper lines. But again, in my personal experience, I just don't find that I'm getting as good of a shape on my beard as I would with a traditional razor. In doing this experiment, I've noticed another major difference between using that electric razor and using the traditional razor. Up here, I'm getting a much closer shave than I am getting down here. But again, that's gonna be sort of a preference thing. If you want that baby bottom smooth, that's when you're gonna need to bust out something a little bit sharper, like the double edge or your typical multi-edge razor. Another thing that I found from this experiment is that using this guy on my neck is proven to work a lot better than a traditional razor when it comes to hairs that don't exactly grow in a natural pattern. What I mean by that is I've actually got a patch right here on my neck that grows in a spiral. And this guy is doing a lot better job than I've ever had with that traditional razor. And that's because usually when I shave that part of my neck, I always get a bunch of cuts when I use a traditional razor. Using this guy, not so much. But on the other hand, I am getting more razor bumps down there in that area. So that's something I can take care of a little bit better than a cut, and razor bumps typically leave my face within, an hour to a few hours throughout the day. Whereas if I cut myself with a regular razor, that's gonna stick around for at least a full day to 2 to 3 days if I'm not careful. And finally, the last difference that I found between the electric razor and the traditional razor is feeling. I'm kind of weird in this sense. I find that doing the traditional wet shave, the full lather with the brush, with the shave soap and all the whole 9 yards, is kind of cathartic. I don't really like just picking up the electric razor and going to town on my face and going like, okay, I gotta get out of here. I'm not the type of dude that shaves every single day though. I set aside a good chunk of time to really make sure that I do a good job with my shave. That means doing everything from taking the shower to putting on the pre-shave oil, to lathering up with my shave soap, putting it on the different parts one step at a time, and then really making sure that everything is perfect. Now, I didn't do that for this experiment when I was doing the cheeks and doing the neckline, but that's typically what I do in the past. And when I use the electric razor, I just don't really get that feeling. Sure, it's quicker, and sure, I can get about my day way faster, but at the end of the day, I'm not enjoying myself as much, and really, that's just a personal preference for me. So if you're the type of guy that likes to really invest a bit of time to himself, I would go with the traditional shave. especially a double edge like I use, okay? So guys, I hope you learned something. Whether you choose to use the electric razor or use the traditional razor, that's on you. Now you know some of the pros and cons that I personally found in my little experiment, and I hope that you can take it to heart and apply these lessons, okay? So until next time I see you, hey, keep on growing.
Thanks for watching this video. Beardbrand has launched a private community called The Alliance. It's for men who are looking to invest in themselves and who are looking to keep on growing. Click the link over there and come join us, or stick around and watch some more awesome videos.